Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Deborah Gardner with Hospitality Today Live, and it has been an exciting day here celebrating the first ever International Women's Hospitality Day. And we're so glad that you are staying with us throughout the day, helping us celebrate all the achievements of women from around the world that actually work and pretty much live in the hospitality industry. We're very, very proud of them because we know hospitality women do make a difference. And for you to be here with us, well, you are providing the support for the professional advancement of women to become effective leaders. And that's why this day has been born. So we are so glad again that you are here with us. And I'm really even more excited to introduce our next guest, who is representing the country of Spain. And I am talking about the Chief Commercial Officer, Kerry Healy with Accor. And she is based in Singapore. And I tell you, she is a strategic thinker with a deep understanding of corporate and commercial side of the hospitality industry. And I cannot wait to know more about this. But she does have a lot of experience, and I'm talking about 25 plus years of experience across 4 continents. And she is just amazing. And now you get the opportunity to meet her as well. So stay tuned. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And we are just so delighted now to actually welcome Kerry Healy. Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Deborah. How are you?
Good, very well. I know there's a big, huge time difference that we are dealing with here. So we are just so excited that you were able to pull this off and be with us as you're representing all of Singapore. And I'm just thrilled that you are here with us. And there's no better person to represent because I tell you what, there is so much going on in the world, and it's just so nice to connect with someone like yourself. So thank you so much for being with us.
Deborah, that's my absolute pleasure. It's a wonderful initiative, and I'm delighted to be part of it.
Oh,
and you
wonderful.
are right. There's a bit of a time difference, but it's early morning here. It's evening for you. But This is what we're used to in the world of hospitality. So it's an absolute pleasure.
We're up all hours.
We are indeed.
That is so true. Well, I know our viewers are going to be very excited to hear what you have to say today, especially with so much going on in each destination, whether it's in the U.S. where I am or Singapore where you are. But first, I'm sure people would love to know about you. Where were you born and where were you raised? Because it's so big, such a big area.
Yes, I have a very eclectic background story. So I was actually born in the United Kingdom. My mother is British and my father is Irish. So would you believe at one point I had a thick Irish accent, which I don't anymore. But I pretty much moved several countries. I lived in Africa. I lived in Papua New Guinea. I lived in Scotland, a little bit of time back in Ireland and England. And then when I was 14, I moved to Australia, which is probably where you now have the Australian accent from.
Yeah.
But I've been living in Singapore now for 11 years.
Oh,
and this is the home of Accor for Southeast Asia, Japan, and South Korea, which is the region I take care of.
Wow, you have such a vast experience that a lot of women in the hospitality industry don't get that opportunity. How did all of this come about for you to get into the hospitality industry?
That's a great question. I think I was destined because of all the travel we did growing up, and just had access to different cultures and travel and the experiences that gives you. But I think around 16, all the hotel schools popped up, and I was like, bingo, that's what I'm going to do.
Oh.
So I had already been to my interviews for 3 different hotel schools, secured the spot, much to, I think, the dismay of my father, who was like, keep studying. I was like, I'm in. So I think the reality is it was innate in me, but the business and the industry has changed so much in that 25 years, and it's been quite a journey. And I think I'm incredibly grateful, because it's also gave me an opportunity to move back to London with a job, move to the Middle East, move back here. And I'm sure my journey is not finished yet, despite the challenges that COVID is presenting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, tell our viewers what Accor is and what does it mean,
sure.
and all that area, because I'm sure a lot of people don't know about it, but then there's, we want to make sure that the Accor brand is situated correctly at the same time.
Sure, no problem. That's fine. So Accor is a global hospitality and lifestyle company. We operate close to 40 brands. So I'm thinking of your audiences. They would know the Raffles brand. They would know the Fairmont brand. They would probably know the Sofitel brand, Delano, Novotel. I could go on, but we would be here for 30 minutes talking about 40 brands. And so we would be certainly the largest international hotel organization throughout Europe and Asia as well, and very strong players throughout the Middle East and growing throughout the United States and North America, and very strong in LATAM as well. So a lot of acquisition activity over the last few years. So it keeps us on our toes.
Yes, absolutely. And so, of course, we've been through this whole pandemic worldwide going on. Has Accor really hung in there on all levels?
Look, I mean, we're like most hotel groups, depending on where you are situated in the world, we are still hurting, of course. The borders are closed. I mean, for me personally, in Southeast Asia, we relied on inbound traffic.
Sure. So
we're very much having to pivot and find new ways and think of new ideas to generate revenue. But very happy to report that throughout Europe, as the vaccinations are at high, a little bit like the US, businesses opening up, people are traveling. So, we think that we're in for another tough ride throughout Southeast Asia for another 12 months, 6 to 12 months, depending on vaccinations.
Sure.
But I think also very proud to work for a company that has really taken care of its employees over this time. And we are operating in a lot of countries that don't have government grants for people and allowances, and the company has been very, very generous with a fund we call Heartist.
That's great. That's wonderful here. And one of the things that you just mentioned was that you've had to pivot, become very creative. And as much as we did not want this to happen worldwide, as far as the pandemic is concerned, shaking it up to get us to be more creative is what our industry needed. So I just 100%. Think once we get what I call the meeting revenge, where there's going to be tons and tons of meetings and travel and tourism, whether it's leisure or BT, whatever that might be, it's really going to help us to differentiate ourselves if we come back stronger with our creativity and our innovation mindset.
I couldn't agree more, and I definitely think there'll be the pent up demand. But I also think this pause, which is what I'm calling it, is allowing you to rethink your core business values, how you market yourselves, and how you operate your businesses more effectively. And might I add, probably we're in our industry maybe a little bit more balance in terms of the way in which we pull all parts of our life together, which I hope does not return to normal after this.
Yeah,
I think totally better for the rest.
Totally agree with you. Absolutely. Well, that sounds like a fantastic company, and learning more about that along the way will be good for everybody, because I'm sure Accor is going to be just huge coming out of this, since they've already been successful throughout this entire pandemic. Now, why don't we shift gears and let's talk to these women viewers that are watching here. We know that you are a big believer in what you call a seat at the table. And I would love for you to share what that means to you, and along with some tips that, you feel that would inspire females to reach that C-suite leadership position to get to that table?
Yeah. I mean, frankly, a seat at the table means having a voice, right? It's the ability to have confidence in what you're thinking, what you want to say. And when you get that opportunity, it comes with a huge amount of responsibility, because you have an ability to shape, direct, influence people. But I would say that all too often you might find yourself going, gee, I wish I'd said that, or that feedback was good. Oh, I was thinking that, but you didn't say it. And that is what you need to develop to be any leader. But I think in particular, sometimes as females, we're waiting for validation first. And I think you need to advocate that first if you want that seat at the table. And as the opportunity comes up, the worst thing we can do for ourselves is to get engulfed with that imposter syndrome. You are there for a reason. There was a process to get you there. There were others. But you got the role. You're in it. It's just you now, along with your peers. So you have to own that seat at the table. And it's not just about when you get there. I think it's the whole way through your career. You're going to have interactions with people, the way you show up, the way you respond, the way you initiate, people that you're dealing with in all points of your career. These are the people that will end up watching you and reaching out as mentors. And I think it's a really important word, because finding that voice can be a bit scary. And certainly I've worked for a lot of great leaders and a lot of not so great leaders. And we can talk about that maybe later, Deborah. You can, if you want to hear some stories, I'm happy to share. But, it is important, because those moments through your career where you are showing up, where you are giving opinion, where you are not engulfed by fear of what other people will think, where you don't spend your time just saying sorry for things that you're not sorry about. I think these are the things that build your confidence as you go through your career.
Yeah, boy, that's so good to know, because as our industry continues to change, and you've been in it for a while, as I have, and to know that taking a seat at the table has changed. I don't think that we have to ask for permission anymore.
No,
we belong there.
yes,
right?
And I think really, let's, on the back of the Me Too movement as well. I mean, most organizations are focused on creating that diversity. And I think it goes, because it's definitely not about a man or a woman. It's about the collective power of having a balanced team. And actually where I am, that's about having cultures and races, right, that represent the customers of the people that we deal with.
Sure.
And I think that's really important, that it's, it is the collective power. And it's interesting because, I think there's a huge responsibility as, I don't know if you're a parent, I am. I have a 16-year-old and just the one boy. But, because of the way I was raised, and I'll tell you that later, I make sure that he's growing up believing that a woman should be at the table with him. He sees no difference. And I think that's the power that you have as a parent. So I think this changing mentality starts with parenting. So for those of you who are really young in the audience, be careful what messages you're sending, even subliminally, to your children as you're growing up.
Right.
Because I grew up with very modern parenting, 2 brothers. They had no different benefits. They had no different leeways to me. It was equilibrium. So when I started hotel school, when I went for my first interview, I thought I was as good as the next person, regardless of their gender, which I think helps, right? It was an advantage. I wasn't put in, you need to be protected, you need to be taken care of. That was not my upbringing. And I'm very, very, very grateful for that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, your parenting is probably a lot better than mine, even though I have a 2-year-old, but it's a four-legged 2-year-old. Which is a lot of work compared to a 16-year-old probably right now. But you brought up a really good point, because a lot of women in our industry are parents, and to manage and balance between motherhood
Mm.
and a businesswoman in the hospitality industry is tough for a lot of women, whereas men don't,
Yeah.
have to take
Yeah.
on so much of that role. Is that changing? How do you handle that? Any
Yeah.
suggestions there?
I mean, look, I would say that it's, if I think back to the earlier part of my career when my son was younger, I
Right.
definitely struggled with that because I didn't have the
Yeah.
right type of leadership around me. I didn't
Right.
have the leadership that understood that my values as a mother were just as important, right? So, that's why I like the book Leaning In, by Sheryl Sandberg. So really listening to how she had to manage no, I don't want your phone calls in the evening. So I think, one of the tips I give is to stop saying sorry. And so let me put it in a context of being a mum. You're just leaving, you've got that 4 o'clock, you need to be somewhere for the school. And of course someone rings, and of course it's urgent, but it's not urgent. Nothing is generally that urgent. And I think it's about taking stock. Once you've created what's important to you, it's about having that suite of sentences ready to go. So you say, look, I understand this is really important, but I'm doing something right now which is really important for me. I cannot move it or cancel it, but I will be home at X time and I will take a look at that for you and give it my full attention. I think that will be a better outcome for you. And I honestly write these down because you're going to use them time and time again when you feel that your personal values or your role as a mother is being questioned, because a company doesn't own you and certainly does not pay you for a 24-hour period. And that's what we all need to learn, I think, as we move through. And I will say also that there are many female bosses I've had along the way that are also have lacked compassion. And I would encourage, whether it's a male leader or a female leader, to really use that compassion in building contemporary teams that really build that trust and show a bit of vulnerability. And I think perhaps some maybe old school leadership thinks that vulnerability is weak, but I would say it makes you human and that people want to work for humans.
There you go. I like that. That makes a lot of sense because I think this is one of the areas where women fear is how they are going to be able to approach the fact that motherhood is top priority. And you know what? They really should, because it is.
They really should. You shouldn't have to choose. I think if you want the career, because I also respect people who don't. But the reality is, if you want it, you can have both. I'm testament to that. My son still loves me. I get the most beautiful, heart-gushing messages telling me what a great mum I've been. And it is a balance. But once you know what's important and you follow that, I think it's completely manageable. And as more women reach the real top C-suite, these type of problems will go away because half of them will be women as well, mothers as well, and they will understand that, and cultures will be developed around all facets. I mean, mental wellness is a huge topic right now, right? I don't know about you, but I'm a better person when I have had time to think, when I have had time to pause, when I have had time to exercise. I'm eating better. I'm responding, and I'm not reacting, and I'm listening, as opposed to I can't cope with anything anymore.
That's a very good point, because once we have clarity, once we have time for ourselves, and we keep our priorities straight, we deliver better and we become loyal better. And I think that's a key for any company and organization would like to know about. But what you're also sharing here, Kerry, is that no matter the culture differences between Singapore or me being in the US, it sounds like, women have the same issues, the same concerns, the same, matters, which really is a bonding effect that, hey,
I think so.
It doesn't matter where you live. This is something that we can, we have to face, but it's also, like you said, manageable.
It is manageable. And I think what I like about forums like this, Deborah, and it's so great of you to initiate, is that, I moved into the Chief Commercial Officer role last October. And, was I 100% ready for the role when it came up? Was there a moment where I went, oh, fear, I don't know if I can do it? Of course. But, I didn't let fear rule me. I let it allow me to grow me. And I think that's one of my tips for our viewers is not to let fear stop you. Because I have this thing in my mind as well where sometimes I think, and it's a generalization, so forgive me, men will be like, oh yeah, I've got 3 or 4 of those things. Boom, I'm going for the application. We can be a little bit more like, I didn't tick that box. I didn't tick this box. But why not you? Right. When is the right time? So right. I challenge you to not let fear, close you down. Instead, use it to continue to grow.
Right. I like that. Okay, ladies out there, I'm writing this one down. So make sure you are too. These are like golden nuggets all through this episode right now. So that is really, really well. Oh, okay. Yeah. So what's the one thing that you wish more people knew about with women in the hospitality industry? Let's say it's somebody outside the industry or in, it doesn't really matter. But is there one thing that you wish that they would know about hospitality women today?
I just think what the remarkable career opportunities are.
Okay.
I mean, I think, it's such a broad industry, and you can really, whether it's creativity, whether it's design, whether it's procurement, whether it's, commerce, digital, you think of the transformation happening in the business, the auxiliary services, the world is changing. Yeah. So you can actually, no matter whether you come from a finance background, a banking background, customer service solutions, you can actually have a formidable career in the business. And I know for us, if I think about the type of people we've brought into really the senior roles of the company at a global level, not many of them came from a traditional background. We have some, but we picked the best in class. So you want someone who's running your CRM strategy. We went to the best industry for that, so it's exciting. It might be hurting at the moment because of COVID, but it will, to your point, Deborah, absolutely bounce back. And I'm sure, although it might look a bit different, it will still be a very exciting opportunity for women to come into, and one that is changing rapidly. I mean, I know that, just to put some percentages on this for you, we have a target of having 45% global comics sort of roles by the end of 25, and it has to be 40 by the end of next year. So it's quite high, and that is a positive thing, right? Yes, so that's going to be a very balanced leadership culture running through.
Nice.
And it's something we're focused on. It's something the company is targeted on. And so another thing I say is choose your companies carefully. Make sure that the company has the right values for you as a woman. Don't put yourself in a company where you don't think they really mean what they're saying, right? Make sure the words have actions.
Yes. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with interviewing the company to see if it's a right fit for you. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
I did a stint in between hospitality in a recruitment firm. And when I was prepping my candidates, I used to say that, like, if your interview, make sure you get out of it what you want as well, because it's a two-way street. Right. And if you feel like the dialogue is not there from the very beginning, imagine what it's like working in the company.
Yeah.
I'm running.
Yep.
I'm out the door.
We're out of here. Cut the cord, leave, go, I agree. Totally agree. Well, that's very good information. And I love those statistics too. So you must have a mentor yourself. I'm sure there's some women out there that inspire you. Who are they and what do they do?
I mean, it's funny. I mean, I think I've had, I was very lucky. I think I start with my mother, because I'm not sure I realized how strong she was until I went through my life in varying phases. I've had some female GMs along the way who've shown me huge amounts of compassion, especially in my earlier parts of my career, and also customers. I mean, coming from a sales background, I've had good fortune to work with women in C-suite roles who have invited me to different conversation groups that have really supported me along the way, and just being that person you can talk to when you're not quite sure you want to tackle a subject the right way. And I mean, if I look out in the world, I mentioned Cheryl from Facebook before. I mean, I think she's an amazing role model. I mean, Kamala Harris is an amazing role model, and she's using her voice. and using it responsibly. And so I think there's lots of individual women. I'm not so sure that I have a name that's going to be relevant for your audiences, but I've always sought out people I aspire to be like, or I respect, and some of those are men and women. And I think that's another really important takeaway, is as you're learning to find your voice, find a mentor. And it can be a man and a woman, and I encourage you to have both, because we look at it from different lenses, and it will help you be more rounded in your own leadership style as you move forward.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And I know whenever I do one of my programs across the globe, I'm always talking about the fact that when mentorship comes up, definitely have several different versions of it. And whether it's gender or industry wise, I mean, sometimes you can get great ideas from other industries to bring into your
100%.
right?
Yeah. And I think, I belong to a couple of those networking groups where I'm at the table with women from all different industries, and I find those ones fascinating. And there's usually one or two people that you can have a side conversation with. Then comes an individual coffee, and then suddenly you're in a very nice mentoring relationship, which feels safe. And I think that's the most important part, is to get some of that practice in a very safe environment, so that when you're in the seat, you're a little bit better at judging. Because, by the way, part of learning to have a voice is accepting that you're going to say the wrong thing. Right? And it's okay to say, I don't know, I made a mistake. I think that acknowledgement makes you human. And I guess that's one of the takeaways, is really that finding your voice and understanding the journey that you're going to go through, and using a mentor along the way. So that's another top tip.
Right.
And the other one I laugh at, because I'm still guilty of doing it and I'm still learning, is stop saying sorry.
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you have absolutely done the wrong thing.
Sorry.
I'm not suggesting that you go through life unapologetic. I'm saying that don't say sorry for things that you don't know what else to say. Choose another word. Remember I said before to write a list of alternate sentences? This is definitely an area that I recommend you write an alternative list, because you're not sorry that you've got a different opinion to someone. You're not sorry that you don't think someone's doing the right thing. You have an ability to say, it looks like you didn't like what I said. Would you like to continue talking? Or perhaps you have a different opinion. Would you like to elaborate? Lots of different ways of saying it. But women say sorry too much. And that makes you look a little bit weak, to be honest. And that's not what we're looking for. We are confident. And remember, we own that seat at the table. We have that voice. We've done the work. We belong there. So that's another top tip.
Oh, yeah. And that's a whole nother topic, too. I've got to have my husband watch this episode so that you say that. So just so he knows, I'm not going to say I'm sorry anymore.
I can see all these walls starting. No. Say sorry if you've done something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we have somebody in the chat that has a question for you. And this is a whole different area, but I'm sure you have the answer to it. What's the best way to interview a potential job recruiter?
A potential way to interview, so someone that wants a job?
That wants a job, like a woman that wants a job. What's the best way to interview her?
I mean, I think that's quite a broad question, but I would suggest that you're wanting to know who the person is, right? How does this person tick? How does this person operate? By the way, I wouldn't interview a woman any differently to how I would interview a man, right? Is the person fit for the role? But I would want to hear about the passion, right? What drives them? What motivates them? These are going to help you determine how they're going to fit into your organization. I'm assuming you've already read a CV, so you know the skills are there. You want to check some of that, but otherwise, it's about the cultural fit. It's about what do you want this person to do, and do you see them in that role? Do you, and are they able to convince you, influence you during that interview? Because having a voice, remember, it's about the fact that then becomes with the responsibility of being able to influence and have impact. Very good.
Very good. Yeah, I love what you just said, because that That is key. And for the women viewers today, my goodness, I hope you're writing all this down. This is just terrific information all the way from Singapore. And someday I will get there to meet you. There's no doubt.
I hope so, Deborah. It'll be a pleasure. We'll be a race to see who gets on a plane first. Let me assure you, I am ready.
I know. Definitely. So, okay. So this has been fantastic. I've got one more question for you, and I'm asking all our guests this all day long today. What does International Hospitality Women's Day mean to you?
I mean, quite simply, it's a celebration of the industry and the opportunity in an industry that embraces women. And so for me, it's just a complete celebration, and it's an honor to see, to look back over my career for that time and that of many female colleagues and say we made good choices. Yeah. We're in a good spot despite COVID.
Yep, definitely. And I love the fact that we're all coming together today to really, enhance each other's achievements and recognition to say, hey, let's do this even stronger and better into the new year. So I just cannot thank you enough for joining us all the way from Singapore. My goodness, yes. Once we get flying again, boy, I would love to get an opportunity to meet you in person, because that's what we're all about.
We are indeed, Deborah. Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure to support.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me so much. All right, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Kerry Healy, who with Accor has just shared amazing information, all kinds of tips. My paper is just full here with all kinds of things that she mentioned. And although some of them are simple, my goodness, the question is, are we doing them? I'm going to stop saying I'm sorry, that's for sure. And I'm not going to be fearful anymore as well. And when you can see that it has to do with the fact that hospitality women can come together from across the world, it just makes everything better. So I'm hoping that you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, please share it with everyone out there in your neck of the woods, because she had some great, brilliant information to share. And again, we want to thank you for being here with us today, all day. We've got more guests coming up. So thank you so much for your support for the professional advancement of women to become effective leaders in the hospitality world on this first ever International Hospitality Women's Day. So don't go away. We will continue with our next guest, and I can't wait to share where she is from as well. So stay tuned.